And welcome to GNR, today on the 29th of September. Moving briskly on, we've got nobody sitting in the room. Right, apologies. We've got Councillor Liz Wright and Councillor Jessie Jacobs, haven't we? Yeah, wonderful, thank you. Interests. I'll continue when you're playing around with that, frankly texting. Interests, as and when somebody comes up. Minutes. I looked through the minutes. I couldn't find any issues, so I'm happy to propose them. Seconder, Councillor Slade is seconding. All in favour? Yeah. It's like practicing that multitasking.
Can members hear me? Just testing, sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine. Okay, matters arising for the minutes. I've got something arising. The only thing that I saw which was arising, which was GRO 48, which was the letter to Cornwall Council regarding the youth centre. We're still waiting for a written response. Apparently it's on the way. Okay, for that. So as and when the arthritic snail comes along with that, then we'll no doubt we'll get it. Does anyone else have any other matters arising from the minutes rather than me going page by page?
So did we write to Cornwall Council to ask what's currently happening?
Yes, and we're waiting a response. Yeah, a written response. There, yeah. Nothing else? So, no. Okay, marvellous. Open session for electors. We've had no written questions in, so I presume nothing's come in as the last minute. Nope. Number 6, which is the local assets. So the update on that then. So devolution working party reports. We're actively working then towards Mountwise Gardens and garages, the St John's ambulance and the Godolphin playing field. That's gone through on sort of previous minutes and things. And with the Godolphin playing fields, we're waiting to see if we can alter the usage definitions that are currently on that at the moment, so make it more dynamic space than just playing fields. Also looking for the survey, waiting for the survey on the Legion and the land at Trimbath Crescent, and of course the youth centre. So I think that covered everything on that list. Yeah, brilliant. So we're sort of like different stages of progress on those, really, and again watching out for the arthritic snail. Anyone want to say anything on that?
Tell me where the land is at Trimbath. Oh, Trimbath, I'm thinking of Troll, sorry.
Yeah. If you have an ideas of grandeur there, Margaret. It's like, oh yeah, we could be, yeah. Do I need? Yeah. Hopefully, if Andy hears anything, then he might just chirp in anyway. Andy. Sorry, yes, Councillor Sykes.
There was half talk about the future of the Little Fistral car park. Do we know what they're doing with that?
No. Do you have anything on that, Councillor Creek?
So I have written to the portfolio holder
Right.
For Transport, Councillor Dan Rogerson, he asked for some feedback more generally on car parks around Newquay. And I expressed to him that how successful we had been with our South Fistral Play Park car park, how we'd increased the revenue year on year, whilst keeping charges 20% or more, in fact, over the last couple of years below than Cornwall Council, increased usage and obviously generated revenue from that. That hasn't required us to do anything silly like put ANPR cameras in. And enhanced the area rather than detracted from the area. So I've expressed that to him and suggested that he might wish to consider, given that they are now not handing over Little Fistral Car Park and Watergate Car Park to Corserve, that they might want to consider giving those to the town council, and we could run them in a similar way, and we could offer to share profits with Cornwall Council, should that be something that they were interested in. So I await his reply.
So in planning, I'm sure we've had a letter about car parks.
Yeah, so all councillors were asked on their feedback on car parks.
Okay.
Councillor Kenny, I think, chose to take it to planning, knowing that Councillor Kenny was already gathering feedback from planning. I've had a conversation with Andy over the last few months about what we might want to do with some car parks, and I just took it upon myself to respond. But so I think it's fair to say between Councillor Kenny and I, I'm not sure what the others, Cornwall councillors for this area are doing, but certainly Councillor Kenny and I are on top of it, and will give full and thorough feedback. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Is that okay? Yeah. Oh, Martin's joined us in the gallery. There we go, Martin. Welcome. Welcome. Right, item 7 is the RFL, Building a Culture of Respect, which is, I'm looking for a vote on this one, that delegates one of the officers to look at what's available. There is a qualification sort of thing, not a thing, qualification, council qualification that can be done to cover this, to promote respect and professionalism within the council environment. So, oh right, Andy, yeah, come on in.
Hello, thank you, and sorry this is a bit clunky. So the SLCC and NALC are doing a national campaign on the Civility and Respect Pledge, they're calling it. And so the councils, town councils, have an opportunity to sign up for that. I don't know what's involved. I don't think there's a cost to join it, but I do think you have to update your policies and procedures. So what I was going to ask, if the committee's happy, we would task someone in the office to investigate and come back and say this is what's required and this is the benefits of being part of that scheme or not.
Brilliant, thank you, Andy. So I'm quite happy to propose that it's looked into, if I can have a seconder. Councillor North seconded, so all in favour? Yay, wonderful, thank you. Oh, look, we're whipping along. Right. Item 8 then is the development of the youth hub. So that, as I've said before, is an ongoing thing and we're waiting for that response. So Councillor Wright has got a grant, a small grant, I think it's for 3,000 to create and look at a business plan as to how it might move forward in the future. So please forward any ideas to Councillor Wright as to how beneficial it would be for it to be run by Newquay Town Council, please. Hint, hint. Yes, so ideas, you know, as a business plan. It used to be used a lot more in the wider community, as a resource and things. I know they're quite keen in the youth centre to put a new kitchen in, and so the young people can run it as a cafe, as like a little business, and create cookies and things that they can then sell and stuff. So things like that, which very much more hands-on and local based. Item 9 is the budget monitoring report. Now, obviously, we haven't got Anne here. So I think there's... Andy was going to speak on this one. Andy, can you speak on this?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Obviously, I've had this, it's like Chinese whispers, I've had this from Anne and Levi. So effectively, this is a standard budget monitoring report up until month end 31st of July. The information I've got is anything highlighted red where spend has been moved but stayed the same on the spreadsheet. If no amount is specified, it means the whole total has moved. So anything that's moved around, it should be highlighted, and if it's in red, it's moved. And at the end column, you have information about what's on that line. So what does it cover? So for example, on the line 5, you've got WorkNest subscriptions, and you'll see that the actual spend to date is £2,009.68. The budget was 76748, and that's because it's part of other costs elsewhere. There is going to be some movements around where things have been posted incorrectly to codes, but it's all captured within the budget. So the total cost is everything that's been incurred, but things are being moved around because there's been some miscoding, unfortunately. That's really all the notes I have. If you have any specific questions or concerns with any lines, Anne has said that she's more than happy to answer them. And for this meeting, it's purely for noting, so there's no decision needed for this. But any questions, she's happy to answer. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Andy. Everyone's beavering away looking at this document. I think it's a case of if you've got issues or questions, if you can send them to Anne, that would be great. I mean, nothing leapt out at me as being untoward or any issues or anything. So has anybody got anything of note to? No. Wonderful. And then we've got the July project updates, monthly budget analysis. I think that was Andy. That was the same, wasn't it? That with this as well. That this is just for information, and if we had any questions, to direct them to Anne.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
so this is purely just giving you a bit more information. So the budget versus actual, where there's larger figures, we've provided a breakdown of those.
Yeah. Brilliant. So nothing to vote on that one. So 9B then, budget planning and setting. So we've got it's very much a draft that we've been given. So, for instance, I thought the general grants that we've got a budget for 5,000 for, that we know that we give out to community groups and things, has been that for a long time, and I'd quite like to see it going up a little bit because it's been forecast there for staying the same as well. So I didn't know what anybody thought about that, maybe going up to 5,250, and then maybe thinking of it going up with inflation in the future. Ooh. Thoughts, anyone? Yay or nay? It's line 64. Yeah. So, I mean, if nobody's really untoward of that, then we need to vote for that as to having sort of like an increase, and then it can be adjusted as very much as a draft document. So I'm quite happy. Well, okay, go on.
So I think what you're saying is right, that we should explore that. I wonder whether actually we need to be a bit more drastic than that, to be honest, or a reinstatement of the previously cut. Though Andy, I'm sure you'll have a comment on the administration of it. The community chest budget that we once had in place, which allowed each councillor a small pot of money to allocate to local charities of their choice within the community. I can't remember how much it was, Andy. Was it like, it was only like 250 quid or something, wasn't it, each?
Yeah, it was something like that. I mean, that really did work well, although there were some members that never spent it. And I think that's it's understanding what do you do with that then at the end of the year. Just as a point of interest, obviously, if you look at the contingency lines later on, there's some money set aside for things like post-staff review, implementation and improvements. That can be anything. That's whether it's buildings and things like that. But there's a large chunk of money there. We've continued the miscellaneous expenses, and we've reinstated the Martin's Law budgets. Now, as you can see, that's quite a significant change there, and absolutely get what's being proposed here. I think that's a great idea, but I just want to make the case that there's some numbers here that are quite big. And so this is a first draft. You will see it again. This is not the final time you're going to see it. I just wanted to highlight those as well. So there could be potential that if we're not using all of that money, that you could via some of that for another purpose if you wanted to.
I mean, originally when I said this to Andy, I said upping it to 6,000 because it hasn't increased for at least 2, if not 3 years. From the 5, and it's kept going at 5. So I think it's, rather than the community chest and then sort of councillors having to negotiate if somebody wanted something a bit bigger, because we have given out larger sums of money than that. I'm looking at.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. I was listening to what you're saying and also looking at something else. So I think the nice thing about the community chest is that it allows smaller groups to access, small pots of money, for small projects. The grant gateway and the sort of the detail that you have to fill out and go through to get that grant. I'm the first to say this, given that I'm the one that implemented this 2 grant gateway window thing, is a little bit clunky, but it is done in the right way for the right reasons. It would be nice to have some interim flexibility in terms of the community chest for smaller donations to get out into the community quicker, if that makes sense. And then that just leaves that £5,000 grant for those kind of larger requests that might come in, say over £1,000, which they need to come and present for anyway. So I wonder whether that might be a nice kind of way of mixing up some sort of short-term, quick fix funding for small local groups, and and just as an example, you've got like Surf Lifesaving Clubs who have benefited, the Chess Club, which is a very small group in the library, benefited previously. I know Nikki and Bloom have had little community chess bits and pieces, RNLI, lots of small community groups just need 100, 200 quid here or there, and that's quite a quick, easy way of doing that, whereas the grant process is a little bit clunky, but for all the right reasons. So I mean, I'd be happy to look at the reinstatement of the £250 per councillor community chest per annum. That's £5,000 a year. I appreciate what I'm looking at here, Andy. I think is something like £62,000 year-on-year increase in the GNR budget. Is that what I'm looking at?
Effectively, yes.
Yeah. Though I'm also looking at a precept number that looks potentially lower than it might be. Is that correct?
Possibly, but that hasn't been worked out yet, so I will caveat that heavily.
Can we at least say that this is potentially a worst case scenario?
In terms of this committee's budget, yes, you could,
Yes.
but obviously not the preset figure because we don't know that
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Okay, so I think let's factor it into the number. I'd like to, if it's okay with you, Councillor Thompson, I'd like to propose that we reinstate it into the budget for, certainly for this process, you know, and if things look worse later in the year, and we need to review that, then that's fine. But I think making that extra 5,000 available to small community groups would be really important.
So in terms of that then, so you want, if you're happy to propose then
I am.
that we keep it at the 5,000, but reinstate the individual councillor chest then for 250.
Yeah.
So
And then this committee can then decide, you know, in the next couple of months on the procedures that go alongside that, mindful what, you know, the clerk said earlier about some councillors in the past didn't spend it. And so I think if there's a case that if you've got to 3/4 of the year and you haven't spent it, then it automatically goes into another pot that we then release somewhere else. And that might well be topping up the grant, the overall grant pot for the second window or something. But
okay.
Sorry, that's really complicated, Laura. Is that okay?
No, that's all right. So I'm happy. So if you propose that, I'm happy to second that. All in favour? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, and so I think that was that. Now, I mean, I just picked up on that, and then Andy's discussed the contingency funds for the Martins Law and so for instance, the SPOS staff review implementations and improvements, there's going to be potentially 15 new members of staff starting. So it's, you know, compliance and things to go with that. So that's what that's budgeted for. But it's a bit sort of like guess and things and wait and see. Yeah.
Quick question, Andy, this is one for you, and this is not directly part of budget planning, but as we're looking at a budget, I thought it's probably a good time to ask. Is there anything in the pot for, it was asked, one of the councillors asked me this week whether we could have, and I want to caveat this heavily, a councillor away day, and I don't mean anything fancy, I mean just facilitating the 20 of us getting together in a building that isn't Mount Wise. Is there anything in the budget for that?
Yeah, so under, if you look at middle of that budget, you've got a code 103, councillors and civic. Now, we've tended to keep things like room hire costs in there, miscellaneous expenses, and you'll notice, you know, they don't really get spent. It's only if we do a big mayor making or a civic event that's significant. So there is money in the pot there that isn't always utilised, that could be used for things like that. So if you wanted to hire a particular venue or, you know, get transport, etc., you could look at that.
Okay, thank you. I think this particular councillor, and understandably so, there's a number of new councillors, isn't there, in the council, wanted to kind of get us all together as a bit of a kind of team building morning, possibly at a local venue. So thank you. That's useful to know.
Brilliant. Okay. Next thing is item 10. It's oversee and scrutinise town council legal governance and statutory responsibilities. So, grant reports. Oh, I'm really sorry. Yes. So Kieran's done the grant report here. Oh gosh, what did I have there? So what Kieran suggested is that an awful lot of the grants that are applied for, then they need a small financial contribution coming with the grant. So it would be like, you know, 90% grant, 95% grant, that sort of thing. So what we're hoping for is that some money is set aside. Oh, I just found a splinter in my thumb. Money is set aside for grants to cover that basic, maybe percentage coverance for grants that we apply for, and suggesting maybe oh gosh, what have I written here? I've got 12,000 here. Want
Would
to
you like me
include?
to come in, Sarah?
Yeah, please come in, Andy. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So under grants 151, if you go back to the spreadsheet, there's a line in there that's got £12,000,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
right.
suggested that continues going forwards. And the reason being, if you look at a lot of the applications now, they are seeking match or some kind of contribution.
Yeah.
That varies dramatically depending on the applications and the funding available. But some of the pots of money are up to £10 million for some significant heritage projects. And I think the idea here is to have that money there, so you haven't got to wait for a full council meeting to release it from an earmark reserve, because a lot of the time you're up against a deadline. And equally, if it's not match funding, it potentially could go towards the costs of getting an application to where it needs to go. So a lot of these do need, first stage planning approval or surveys completed and things like that. So it would be a ring-fenced amount of money purely to generate significant income from grants. That's the purpose of the fund.
So, for instance, what would have come from this would be like us looking for planning permission for like an outdoor classroom up at Polwheel. And so that money would come, because you need, with those grants, you need to have it, you need to apply for it when it's got its planning permission. So that sort of like, it will cover these small costs and things sort of ready for that, rather than have to keep going backwards and forwards and time being lost. So I'm happy to propose that we have that fund. I'm trying to judge Drew's face, but it's
Sorry, Andy.
No,
it's already in the budget, isn't it, on line 62, yeah?
Yes, it is. So Anne's made an assumption that members would be okay with that, because obviously this is all subject to change.
We don't
So
need
this
to
can all
propose
change.
it, do we?
So do we? I thought I've got it down that we needed to vote on it, Andy. No?
It's for just noting the report.
No, it's for noting. Right? No, it was the 5K. It was the 5 grant. That was the vote. So sorry.
I think
Yes.
again, on the basis that we are in budget planning mode as opposed to budget setting mode, happy to have it in there, and a bit like the other, the grant thing that we just talked about. If we need to find some money later on, we might need to review it. But for right now, it seems like a sensible way forward.
Yeah.
Although, is this not? And I appreciate that the general fund, does that need release from full council as well, Andy? The general fund.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Can we not change the standing orders to make it a committee decision as opposed to a full council decision?
I don't think you can, because it's treated similarly to an earmark reserve. So I think it requires full council for any release. It's a contingency pot.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to make it more nimble. Okay.
Wow, that's a blast from the 70s, isn't it? Nimble. Who can forget those adverts with balloons? Oh, well, you weren't. You born? Oh, sorry. This is completely. Martin, no, Martin. You can. Margaret can appreciate it. I'm sure Sandy can as well. Yeah. Yeah, but it was so light that you floated away in your balloon. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't bring up the nimble. Right, okay, sorry. Right, item 10 then. The governance statute. Oh, right.
Do we need to vote on that for noting that budget?
No, because we voted on for the grants. That's what I had down for voting on. Oh, Andy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you don't have to with the grants report. It's a nice to do, but it's been noted already through the budget setting.
Yeah. Brilliant, thank you. Right, third time lucky. Governance, statutory and responsibilities. So the auditor's report. Next bit of paper. We've all the boxes dutifully ticked. There's been a a hand adjustment for a figure in there. I don't know if that actually needs signing off, just put initials on it. It's a bit like when you used to alter something on a cheque, didn't you? You used to have to initial it. So, but I'm no doubt Andy with that. But I'm happy to propose that everything's been done there and it's fine. So if I can have a seconder for Drew seconding. So all okay? Yay! Brilliant. Well done. Thank you. And then just to note, that the invoices are being paid retrospectively, so I'm happy to propose that. If seconder, Margaret's going to second, so all vote. Everyone's happy with the invoice? Yeah, that's been done. Oh, look, we're whipping through again. Right, assertive reviews. Haha, we can put these together. One of them I did on my own. I did check with Andy that I didn't have a conflict of interest, that I'm signing, that we're voting on or proposing something that I did on my own. But it's the process, we're voting on the process that's been done. So, and the second one was Councillor North and Councillor Kenny. So I'm happy to propose the second of, yes, Councillor North seconding. Okay, with the assertive reviews done, okay, brilliant. Right, frantically flicking over bits of paper. Right, so the insurance, the Fidelity insurance, something to note then is really a recommendation that the coverage from the bank balance goes up from 3 million to 5 million. And that I need to vote on that. Judging with what's happened with Jaguar at the moment, I think sort of like we'd be in a good position that we do up the insurance coverage on that, seeing as it turns out they'd had no insurance cover for what's happened to them, which is a bit surprised, isn't it? So I'm happy to propose that. Seconder? I think Drew on all vote yes. Just wave our hands in the air and yeah. Thank you. Yes, we don't want. Gosh, it's just shocking, isn't it? I mean, the with the children's one, it's like no limits, no shame. Right. So the next item up is 11, the music license fees. So calculations are being done for the music license at the venues. So so I'm looking for a vote then that these extra costs are then put on when a venue is booked. Yes, and yes, they need to sign that they will be playing, music. It's like, when you book a conference and you need electricity, that you need to say that it'll be yes or no that you're going to be playing music on that. So vote to accept that the cost will be put on the forms at the time of booking. So I'll propose. Seconder. Oh, Councillor Kosh. Councillor Kosh on that. Everybody? Yes. Marvellous. All 5 of us. Right, okay. That's that. Correspondence, we don't have any on item 12. Oh, no. Right, so item 13, then we need to go into, what's it, do I just read this? Public bodies, yes, need to, yeah, so vote, seconder, Councillor North, second, I'm just wibbling away here. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Andy's probably spinning on his seat like Chucky at the moment and sort of, okay, what's going on in there when I'm not there? So